Hey guys, what's going on? It's Twintuitive717. I am back with another video. I hope you guys are doing well as always. So I wanted to come on and share a general reading. I feel that now is an important time for us to manifest, and I have a few messages that I want to give you guys about just life in general, especially if you're on this twin flame journey. Life can get heavy, and there's been a lot of shifts when it comes to many of us waking up and starting to have more conversation around what it is we desire, what we want to do, how we want to feel fulfilled. Okay, and a lot of us are making some major changes. Many of us are changing jobs, a lot of us are moving. We are exploring our passions. Many of us are wanting to become better versions of ourselves by eating healthier, being better parents too. I know I shared a conscious parenting post in the community feed, but there were a few messages around that as well that I wanted to reiterate or just touch upon to help you guys for 2022. Now, getting into it with the eating healthy, I've been getting messages around eating a lot of fruit. So pomegranate and pineapples are a big one. Of course, if you don't have any issues with it and you're not allergic, I've just been getting strong messages about like adding a lot of antioxidants, taking probiotics, making sure that your gut health is okay, drinking a lot more water, and refraining or fasting from alcohol. Okay. Another thing with conscious parenting is that if you guys have very young kids, okay, like babies and toddlers and even preschoolers, they need sleep. Okay, they need to have a lot of sleep. So getting familiar with a sleep routine for your kids is really, really important at this time. Especially like if you're just not used to having them on a sleep routine. If your kids are up all hours of the night and they just kind of go to bed when they get sleepy, they're going to experience a lot more like tantrums and emotional imbalances during their day. So you might find that they're just acting out for no reason. When kids are small, it's always a sign of like they're not getting enough sleep, or they just need to be fed or stimulated in a way that's engaging for their age. So some of the tips I have, guys, is like, okay, so if your kids are, let's say, between 2 and 5, like having them finish dinner at around like 4:30 is a good time, because what you want to do is you want to get them into a routine where they're having bath, they change into their pajamas, and then they get into their bed, and story time is really important. Okay, and that's another tip altogether. But reading to your kids is really important, especially before bed. It helps them to develop their language, it helps them to read a lot faster, and it just kind of builds that bonding. Like they're hearing your voice every day, you're carving time out to spend with them one-on-one. And if your schedules are to the point where it's like you're not able to be with them at bedtime, whoever is with them, make sure that they have some type of routine going on where your kids are going to bed and they're getting time to unwind in their room and spend quiet time and gradually get sleepy. And if they practice that, like, I guess, like, I would say maybe for about 2 weeks in a row, naturally they will start getting better sleep. Some of us might feel it really frustrating to try to put our kids down, but it's like they're wide awake. You don't necessarily have to physically put them to sleep, but you have to create an environment for sleep for them. So having them, like, especially for older kids too, go to their room naturally after bath time. They've had their dinner, so bath time they change into their pajamas, and they can do like a quiet activity before they go to bed. So that always includes like puzzles, no screen time or TV time leading up to dinner. So they should be shutting off like any screens or TV, maybe like I would say 20 minutes before dinner, and then you try your best to have dinner with each other all at once, or have dinner with them and talk, because all of it kind of builds up to them kind of like winding down. Because if they're doing a lot of activity or watching a lot of TV, they might be a little bit more like stimulated. So the goal is to kind of like take it down a notch and wind it down. Okay, so yeah, a really important piece of advice there is like routine, especially for kids. They crave routine, they love routine, they know what to expect out of their day. And again, sleep is something that's really important. So always think of like winding them down. Okay, bath time really, really helps kids go to bed. It helps them feel refreshed, kind of washes away the day. And then you kind of get a fresh brand new start tomorrow. Okay, and it's the same with like small babies and kids. The earlier you start, the better. So it's like, always keep in mind it's got to be in that same order where it's like bath time, pajamas, story time, then bedtime. Okay, because that story time is like really kind of taking things down to like a relaxed level, especially with them hearing your voice. And then it's lights out, and they don't necessarily have to go to sleep, but they do have to spend time like in a dark environment, because remember, dark environments help us to naturally get into the mode of sleep. And if they need a nightlight, of course, give them a nightlight, but be around. Like if your kids need you and you guys co-sleep and go to bed, stay with them until they fall asleep and things like that. That's fine. If your kids normally go to bed on their own, or if you've never tried that before and you really may want to try it out or do it, you can definitely give that a go. It will take some practice though. Like if they've never slept on their own, you would probably have to start off by like sleeping with them in their bed and then telling them, okay, after like 3 days of doing that, you would sit on the floor beside them on the bed. So kind of work your way out of the room little by little as the days go on. It takes a lot of patience, but sleep is a skill that we learn. Many of us as adults don't get good sleep because we were never sleep trained at a young age. Where we're taught to value sleep as very vital and important for our day, because it can affect things like productivity and things like that. So, making sure that from a young age your kids are mindful of those habits, then, you create very productive adults later on in life. So, yeah, like gradually work your way out of the room. Like even for me when my son was younger, now he co-sleeps because I'm just like, okay, you know what, like I need to be with him, and I need, like, we've had like the whole run around with like trying to get him to sleep on his own, and he did really well for a long time, and then we kind of just naturally started having him come in the bed with us, and little by little it gradually worked into him wanting to sleep in mom and dad's bed. And I didn't think that co-sleeping was a bad thing after I did my own research. It's just a matter of preference. It's a matter of like how your schedule looks like at home, whether you are able to co-sleep. Like with me, with my son, I will stay with him until he falls asleep, and then I'll leave the room. And he's fine, like he gets enough rest, and the goal is to make sure that your kids are getting at least like 12 hours of sleep a day. And I know that sounds weird, but guys, naturally, like if you put your kids to bed at like 6:30, which means you would have to start their routine by about 5, so make sure bath time is out of the way and you gradually move into doing their stories, unwind activities and things like that, they will naturally get sleepy and fall asleep right at that mark, and they'll sleep throughout the night and wake up early as they went to bed. So the goal is to give them as much of that as possible. What else do I have with kids too? Like many of us are dealing with a lot of anger, a lot of frustration when we have kids, losing our patience. And I think that what we're seeing when that happens is the way that we may have been parented as children. And that's all it is a reflection of the way that we may have been parented. Learn behaviors of how to deal with a crying child, or a child that's having a tantrum, or a child that is doing something that they don't know any better, and it's really frustrating. A really good way of helping yourself out of that is to understand that they are growing and they are learning and they trust you. If you are their parent, they look to you for safety. So if they're learning and your instinct is to scare them or snap on them or yell at them from across the room, little by little you kind of like start, like the bond between you starts severing. Now, mind you, sometimes there are situations where we have to yell, like for their safety. They need to be alerted as to, oh my God, like I could have gotten myself into a lot of danger. But if your child spills a glass of milk during dinner and you freak out, that's not okay. They're growing, and their motion and clumsiness and stuff like that, it's still developing. So the best response is to say, it's okay, I will help you, and help them clean up the milk and pour them another glass. And the more that you practice initiating that response, if that's okay, I'm here to help you. Whenever they do things that your natural triggered response is they're making a mess, or they're being too loud, or, really assess the situation. And it's going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take a lot of deep breathing and if you're feeling the signs and symptoms of anger, you will always know how to catch it by like, you feel it in your body first. And the minute you start feeling it in your body, it's time to catch it. It's time to say, you know what, I'm getting angry or I'm getting frustrated. I need to change that behavior, or I need to leave the room for a moment. And wash your face with like some cold water. Do something that grounds you back into reality. And that will always be something physical. And then, go and address the situation as the adult in the room should. It's always your job to make your kids feel safe, because when you start doing things that make them feel unsafe, you start losing that secure attachment. Okay, secure attachment is when you parent through the needs of your child. So whatever they need, whenever they need it, you're really good at picking up on their cues. You know when they need to use the bathroom because they're like wiggling around in the chair, and it's up to you to be like, hey, TV off, stop playing with that toy. It's time to pause with dinner. It's time to get up and use the bathroom, and show them that authority too. Because a lot of the times, like, sometimes kids can act erratic and they need you to yell, and not yell, but like shout firmly, like, hey, like order in the house type of thing. Okay. But they don't need you to like freak out of anger and make them like startle them or scare them, especially if you know that your anger is just out of proportion to the situation that you're in. Okay, and the spilling the milk is like a classic example of that. For many of us growing up, it's like our parents would have scolded us or called us clumsy or watch what we're doing, but we know better today, and to know that, they're learning and they're developing, and kids are clumsy, like, they're not adults yet. And we cannot have expectations of them like they are adults. And that's very easy. It's a fine line sometimes when we walk it. It's really easy to lose sight of the fact that they're just small and they're growing and they're observing. And the most important thing is they're observing how we are reacting. Okay, so we really want to work on that if that's an issue for us. Okay, let's see what else is coming up here. Organization is another big thing. Okay, so welcoming feng shui into your home. Okay, so organization, I'm getting, is really important for many of us who want to pursue our creative goals or our career goals, and we just feel stuck, like there's no direction. We really want to start executing at ideas and taking action, but it feels very foggy. The best piece of advice I can give you guys to get momentum is to create an organized space in your home. So if your home feels unorganized, then your mind will feel unorganized. And it's a simple concept. So declutter your home and create spaces where you can go and sit down with pen and paper. Like, have like a few spaces throughout your home where there's always like a notepad and pen and paper, but it's clear of everything else. A lot of you might have been getting repetitive messages this year about decluttering, getting rid of old stuff, like, junk in your home, things that you're maybe holding on to, because all of that can, again, make you feel cluttered on the inside, or like energetically, spiritually as well. And it's a good practice to declutter, because it means like energy can freely move through your home. Okay. And like getting very focused when it comes to keeping your house clean. And it's exhausting sometimes to be cleaning all the time, but the more you declutter, the less time you'll spend cleaning. And then when you do get into the habit of constantly making sure that your space is tidy, like no dishes in the sink, the living room is free of clutter, your bed is always made. Guys, do not wake up in the mornings and like do anything else. Like, the first thing to do when you wake up is make your bed. Okay, like the very first thing, like open up your windows, crack them, get some fresh air, and then make your bed. Okay, so I guess technically making your bed is not the first thing, and that moving the curtains and cracking the window would be the first. But do that, okay? It's gonna really clear your energy and just make you feel good again. You'll be more prepared to actually sit down and start thinking about your ideas. And you guys will see, mark my words, the minute you declutter your home and start focusing on like cleanliness everywhere, like the best organization in your home as possible, you'll start feeling so motivated to execute ideas in other areas of your life, especially when it comes to like career and passion and things like that. Yeah, just drinking lots of water. Water is important not only for drinking, but in the shower as well. So make sure that you can shower twice a day. And I know, like, I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. For some cultures, they're like, oh yes, like that's a must. And in other cultures, it's just like not seen as something that may be like important, or you place emphasis on it. But that's because like other cultures see like water as like an entity or like an energy of its own. Like for us, we call like the ocean Mother Ganga. So it's like a female energy for us. So when you guys shower in the mornings, like when you wake up, you're like preparing yourself for the day to come. Like water will cleanse, it will remove, especially if you set an intention while you're showering. And always make sure that you shower before you go to bed at the end of the night. So that way you can wash away any attachments from your day. Like attachments is like energy, you know, like any kind of stress, anything that is happening to us and we may not be able to deal with it in the moment, so it kind of gets like brushed under the surface. Use the power of water to help yourself to like remove that, and you do that by setting an intention. Okay, and another thing too with like setting intentions, I was going to do a reading, but I feel like I'm just kind of going off with these messages so I'm going to go with the flow. But another thing with setting an intention is that it's a really important way of conditioning ourselves, like programming ourselves to do things. And when you are going to sleep at night, the best thing to do is like program your mind for what it is you want to prepare for the next day. And I know that like affirmations, it's like, it seems weird, you know, to like keep repeating a phrase over and over and over again, but it's the same thing. Like if you will let a commercial on YouTube play in your head 20 million times a day, okay, like the MailChimp one, or, you know, like Old Navy commercials, and the song gets stuck in your head and whatever. Imagine the power of affirmations, okay? So that's why I always like share with people the importance of doing that, especially in personal readings, and like making lists and writing down our goals. It's like we're literally programming ourselves. The more we expose ourselves to something, the more it'll manifest in our lives, or the more that we'll create it and think about it. So imagine what happens when you shut off your phone or shut off the TV and you actually start creating like little commercials of your own, except they're geared towards you helping yourself to like achieve your goals. You know, like I am productive every day. I feel abundant with my health. I've attracted so much money today. You know, it sounds silly and it's weird and it may not be what is going on in the present moment, but what do you have to lose, you know? So yeah, I think I've run out of steam. So I hope this message resonates for you guys, especially again, if you are on the twin flame journey. I know that a lot of you are looking at life a little bit more deeply, and you're aware of your surroundings a lot more. You've got those spiritual specs on, so yeah, I know these messages are going to resonate for some of you who really need to find this video, okay? All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy the new year coming up, and manifest like crazy. It's a really good time right now. It is a powerful time right now. If you're ever going to make a list, do it today, okay? I love you guys. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.